welcome to another edition of Dr. Sissy's show, and this is the health segment. And we're talking about female genital mutilation today. February 6th has been marked by WHO as International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation, and so it's a burdensome issue, especially to me because I'm a lady, and most people that are involved in this don't even know that female genital mutilation has adverse effects, has health consequences, and lots of health consequences. And for those of you that don't know what female genital mutilation or female genital cut is, it's any procedure that involves the altering or injury of the female genitalia, either by partial removal or total removal. And for most folks, depending on the religion, ethnic background, and culture, they feel that for most people, why it's done, for most people, they feel that it makes women less promiscuous. And this is, I really don't know what to say to that, because from some studies, it's been found that these women who have undergone some form of female genital mutilation are actually the ones that, some of them are actually the ones that end up promiscuous, because they're never satisfied. And so trying to get that level of satisfaction, they jump from one place to the other. Some of them, not all of them. So the fight against promiscuity, which is why some people are involved in female genital mutilation, it becomes obsolete. So the problem is that some folks who are involved in this don't know what the health consequences are. Now, immediately the procedure is done, there's risk of bleeding. Lots and lots of bleeding, could even lead to hemorrhage. And if this is not immediately taken care of, it can lead to anemia and subsequently death. Also, it can lead to infections, because most of these equipment are not sterilized. And then even in this modern day, some health practitioners are now carrying it out. But even WHO, whether it's carried out by a health practitioner or an amateur, it is totally wrong. So there's a risk of infection, even HIV infection, because some of these people use these instruments from one baby to the other, not even finding out if any of them have any infection like HIV and the other. So it has been known to also spread HIV. Now also it's a very painful procedure, because you are trying to cut out the very sensitive part of the female genitalia. It is a very painful procedure, and it could lead to all sorts of psychological trauma to the baby, and then to the child, and then to the woman when she grows up. It's a very painful procedure. Even when it's healing, it heals with pain. It's that terrible. Also, it can lead to shock from bleeding. It can lead to hemorrhagic shock from bleeding. It can lead to neurogenic shock due to pain and trauma. It can also lead to septic shock because of infection. Then later in life, when it's healing, it heals with a very terrible scar, some of them, and this could be really an unpleasant sight. Now, because there are different types of female genital mutilation, we have the type 1 where only the clitoris is removed. We have the type 2 where the clitoris and labia minora, that's, well, when you go and look at the anatomy of the female genitalia, you know what the labia minora is. So the third one is what we call infibulation, where the vaginal orifice is narrowed by covering it with a seal from part of the female genitalia. And so later in life, this woman has difficulty menstruating, because the vaginal orifice has been narrowed, and it could be quite painful. Also, when she gets married during sexual intercourse, it could be quite a painful experience, unpleasant, and this to all sorts of psychological problems. Now, also apart from that, it could make childbirth very difficult for those who underwent the type 3. It could make childbirth very difficult. It could lead to obstructed labor. It could lead to very prolonged labor, and at the end of the day, the woman might have a baby. So these are adverse effects of female genital mutilation, and this is what we need to aware and sensitive other people around us, so that they just stopping promiscuity. It has adverse effects. WHO shows that it has no health benefits at all. It doesn't benefit anybody. Instead, it has so much health risk. The WHO has considered female genital mutilation as a violation of the human rights, especially for women, because it defeats their right to health effects. Please, my people, try and spread the word so that you can end FGM. Try and spread the word so that you can end female genital mutilation, so that when women can enjoy their childhood, their adulthood, and live a trouble-free life, especially when they get married. End FGM. Dr. Sisi stands against FGM. Please, let's help to end it. Have a lovely day.